Y'all, do y'all remember this lady right here who called the 5-year-old autistic child the N-word? Well, she's in the limelight again, and we're gonna talk about it. But of course, we're not gonna leave anybody behind. I'm gonna catch you up. Shiloh Hendrix and her child were at a park, along with a 5-year-old autistic black child. It didn't come together or anything. Shiloh was there with her child. There were other children there playing. There were other adults playing, and that's exactly what happened. An adult caught her on camera in 4K calling this black autistic child the N-word. Now, there's something I need you to know about autistic children. Sometimes they have issues as far as boundary goes, what they believe to be right or wrong. They have sensory issues. You have to redirect them instructional wise. Well, that meant nothing to Shiloh because this 5-year-old autistic child went in her baby's bag, got a toy, and started playing. And because he took it, Shiloh believed that he deserved every word he got. Well, then the video goes viral and people are like putting comments in the chat stating how disgusting she is, threatening her in private messages. Because Shiloh felt like her life was in danger and her child's life was in danger, she started a fundraising account on GiveSendGo, which is a Christian-oriented fundraising platform. And she was able to raise over $800,000. Now, people were screaming that Shiloh needed to be charged with some type of hate crime, but a lot of other people were screaming, no, it's freedom of speech, and it's protected by the First Amendment. Well, after Shiloh got that money, she deuced, she ghosted. We hadn't heard back from Shiloh until now. Recently, it was just released that she got hit with 3 misdemeanor charges of disorderly conduct, which each charge can hold up to 90 days in jail. Her first court appearance, which is the arraignment, will be October 29, 2025 via Zoom. Now, I do plan on contacting Rochester's district court to ask them if the October 29th arraignment for Shiloh Hendrix will be for public viewing. If so, definitely stay tuned, follow, because I'm going to have the information out. I'm going to put it out if you would like to view and see what happens. Do you believe these charges are going to stick, or do you believe that she'll get away with it? She gets to keep the 800+K and racism just continues to run straight through her veins. And I don't know if misdemeanor charges, if Shiloh Hendrix will ever learn a lesson, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. This is Lady Queen, Blackamericans. Bye, guys.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. So you remember that woman by the name Shiloh Hendrix who decided to use the N-word on a 5-year-old autistic boy? Yes, you all remember that. And people actually donated over $800,000 for her just because she came online and said that she's being threatened. And the crazy part is that she was confronted by a man who was in the same park that they were, and she went on ahead and repeated the same words, and you know, free speech, of course, yeah, but she forgot that free speech is not free from consequences. Right now, as we are talking, this happened on April 28, 2025. And after that, there was legal and community response where the Rochester police did the investigation and completed and forwarded the case to the city attorney's office for review. And after that, on August 26, 2025, the Olmsted County Rochester City Attorney filed 3 misdemeanor charges or disorderly conduct against Hendrix. Each carries up to 90 days in jail and or $1,000 fine. And now there are some people who are actually not happy about this and saying she didn't deserve this was not right at all. You know, what happened to our First Amendment right of free speech and all that. But you'll remember, yes, you have the right of free speech, but remember, free speech is not free from consequences. So you have to be very careful out there. So I want us to watch these videos together, guys, and what people have staged, what people have to say, why some are not happy that she's actually being charged, and why some are like, yeah, she deserves this, and this is actually a good way of people being accountable and teaching people to be accountable and very careful out there and respecting each other. So let's watch these videos together. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on our today's episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you're seeing on your screens. So let's just dive right ahead and we'll come back with more commentary.
Okay, so I want to talk about something for a second because a lot of people are talking about the Shiloh Hendrix case again, right? The white woman who called a black child the N-word and then raised over $750,000 as a reward for that. And the news finally came out, as I've been saying for weeks, that she was going to be charged, right? So they decided to charge her with 3 counts of disorderly conduct. But the more important thing is that these charges were filed at all, right? So she can't hide behind protected or free speech anymore. It is now criminal, and that changes the game. So we've been having that conversation, but I want to point something out because it's a part of the problem, how quickly the black woman who led that movement is erased from that narrative. And this is not about me just wanting credit, even though credit is due, and I have no problem saying, hey, I want the credit for my work, but this is not about that. I have seen national media outlets covering this story since day one. I have seen them inciting racial tension. I have seen them inciting fear. I have seen them talking about how terrible it is in the state of our country, but I have not seen the national media covering the movement led by a black woman to stop that. So I think it's crazy how they are fine inciting all that tension and instilling fear in us, but they are not sharing the movement to stop it. They're not sharing the solution. It's almost as if they want the racial tension and they want the fear and they want the conversation to center around the bad part for clicks and views. And I think it's time that we hold our media accountable for that. This is not just about erasure, but erasure is a huge part of the problem. I do think it's an issue that our media has no problem shining a light on the monster, but they pick and choose who they want to highlight as a hero. This is not about me being a hero, but yes, my work made a significant difference in that case. It was groundbreaking, not just because of her, but because of the amount of people who were trying to follow in her footsteps. Y'all didn't notice that? It was like every other week a fucking racist was attacking somebody and putting up a fundraiser. That is why it was imperative for that woman to be charged to break that cycle. And we have successfully broken that cycle and changed that fucking game. And I think it is disgusting. I think it is very telling. And I think it is altogether terrible and suspicious that our national media has decided to ignore that movement. So I think it's time to call them out, and I think everybody else needs to call them out as well. If you see them sharing her face, if you see them sharing her story, if you see them talking about how charges will be filed, we need to start asking them why they are ignoring how we got here, why they are erasing the entire movement that led to those charges.
I'm sure you guys all remember Shiloh Hendrix, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and defend what she did. I think most of us can agree that just calling a kid a name in general, you shouldn't do, especially when it's not your kid. The fact that that kid stole something from her bag reflects more on that kid's parents and the kid itself. Because I think he was, 6 years old? He probably doesn't know right from wrong yet. And that kid's parents clearly haven't taught him what's right from wrong and clearly weren't paying attention to him at the park. With all that being said, I think it's absolutely insane that the city is charging her with 3 counts of disorderly conduct for saying the you-know-what word a few times. I don't care who you are, that is absolutely insane. It's the kind of shit they do in like the UK and Germany where they police speech and charge people for things they say. We have freedom of speech for a reason. Regardless of if you agree or not with what she did or what she said, she should not be charged with a crime for just saying it. That's a slippery slope that could lead to the government policing all speech in general. Something I don't think any of us want.
A few days ago, the Rochester City Attorney's Office charged Shiloh Hendrix with disorderly conduct for saying the N-word to a Somali child and his father, who is an illegal immigrant and had unrelated abuse charges dropped with a 16-year-old. Shiloh Hendrix didn't even lay a finger on either the boy or his father and simply got into an altercation. But this is somehow justification for her to be charged with disorderly conduct? That's insane. For simply saying the N-word, which is protected under the First Amendment, I know this is a Minnesota law, but the First Amendment applies to even the most controversial and disagreeable speech, and that should apply to her as well. In all reality, this is a whole new generation of viral videos, and it's crazy that they're actually able to conflate the videos and how large it got and how much he raised in donations to the actual case itself, which I would think this would be overturned because this is a direct violation of the First Amendment.
Unfortunately, honey, that is not true. Shiloh's video came out and said she got every dime. Here's the video if you don't believe me.
Hi everyone, I'm Shiloh Hendrix. I wanted to take a little time to talk to you all about what's been going on with my fundraiser and kind of the aftermath of the park situation. There are a lot of people who think that this has all been a scam, that I haven't been getting my money and that it's not going to me. I have gotten every dime of my money. When I first found out that,
she goes on to say that not only she received every single dime, she appreciates everyone. Her goal is $1 million, but she received every single dime. So I'm not sure why that was said or who put that out, that she was stopped from receiving her money, because Shiloh put her video out saying she got every single dime. But thank you so much for commenting on my video.
Yes guys, so this happened on April 28th this year, and this was actually at a playground, and this was in broad daylight, where this woman felt very bold to come and use the N-word on a 5-year-old child until she was confronted. And the crazy part about this is that after being confronted, she went on ahead and repeated the same word on camera several times, not even once, not even twice, and she was quite comfortable doing it even in front of the camera. Now even came to this man and used the N-word on this man. And after this man recorded and this video was going viral, this man started facing threats because he exposed this racist woman, and so many other people that actually were supporting her were not happy about this. And this was not done privately, this was done in a public, and it was intentional and repeated. Like, it's so crazy how someone in their right mind could just, be okay to come and use racial slurs, who is also a mom because she was also holding a child on a 5-year-old boy, just because she said that this 5-year-old boy took something from her purse or from her baby's diaper. Like, 5 years old, and you as the grown-up, you should know better. You're not supposed to come and use the N-word on a 5-year-old child, leave alone on a 5-year-old child. You should not use that word on any person. And people supporting her showed how racism can erupt every day. Public spaces where even kids are supposed to be safe are not safe anymore. About the charges and the legal process, I thought that she was going to be charged with hate crime, but she was charged with 3 misdemeanor counts of disorderly conduct, and the penalty is up to 90 days in jail and or 1,000 fine for each charge. And her first case is gonna be on 29th October 2025. And people are like, I hope the family sues her and get all the money she got from this GoFundMe. And you get to ask yourself, why a misdemeanor and not a hate crime? And you can ask yourself, just like I was asking myself, why only misdemeanors and not a hate crime? And I got to understand that in the US, the First Amendment protects most speech, even offensive or racist slurs. For something to be charged as a hate crime, there usually needs to be a crime plus a bias motive, e.g. assault, threat, vandalism motivated by race. And she only used words. Prosecutors went with disorderly conduct, which is about disturbing public peace. And it's so crazy, guys, because this is a 5-year-old child with a grown-up who is also a mom and should be knowing better, who actually knows better, but she still went on ahead and chose to show her ignorance in public. So if she's doing this in public to a 5-year-old child who is a black child, what about privately where she's not seen? Because it's so crazy, because you as a mom who also has a child, like, would you want your child to be treated like that? For people that were actually donating for this woman, would you want your child to be treated like this child was treated? Would you want your child to be dehumanized like this boy was dehumanized by a mother? You get to understand that from this, it shows a gap in US law. Speech can still cause deep harm, especially to a child, but the legal system often struggles to address it. And it also highlights the differences between morality and legality, and what is socially unacceptable isn't always legally punishable. because yes, it's not acceptable in society, but when it comes to illegal, like, it's okay, and she cannot be charged with a hate crime, which is quite crazy for me to get to understand that. And I wonder and sit here and ask myself, would it be the same case if it were a black person doing this to a white person? You all tell me what you think on the comment section. And thinking about that, a woman who used racial slurs on a child made nearly $1 million in donations, while the child's family who suffered raised less than that. And this actually tells us racism doesn't just survive in America, it's funded. People raised thousands and thousands of US dollars to this woman for using an N-word on a 5-year-old child. Crazy, guys. Sitting here and thinking about it, like, those people that were actually donating to her, what was really going in your mind? What were you thinking when you sent that money to her? Like, you went out there, worked so hard for your money, and decide to, donate this money to a man who is being racist to a 5-year-old child. Quite crazy. And this is so sad and so hurting thinking about it, that this is actually happening in our today's world. With all that is happening in America, with everything that is actually unfolding right before everyone's eyes, it's crazy that people are gonna sit there and support someone who just chose to be ignorant and hateful to a child. So you all can be out there saying that you have the right to say what you want, or right of free speech, but also understand that free speech is not free from consequences, and this is why she's facing what she's facing right now, because she just chose to be ignorant, and now this is happening to her. I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen on October 9th after this first court date, and I'll definitely update you all, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching up to this part, and until the next episode, bye.